All right, we're talking about standards and how to learn a standard. We just went through one video that begins with the foundational aspects of the harmony or the chord progression. And in the case of Satin Doll, it's just loaded with 2 5s. 2 5, up a tone, 2 5. And then a 2 5 in G, 2 5 in G flat, and then it walks up the scale of C and ends on a secondary dominant leading back to the A section with the D minor. So these the A section is identical. And then we have that 2 5 again. 2 5 G flat, and then it just hangs around on the C is what it does in this chart, but there's lots of stuff you can do there. And then we go to 2 5 in F, and I'm just keeping the chords simple, just like the chart here, right? So that you can memorize it. The point of this exercise is so that you can memorize the tune, right? Okay, I went through that all in another video. But what I'd like to do today, that's a good place to start. If you want to learn some standards and start building a repertoire of tunes, right? You do it in sections. You don't try to memorize the melody and the chords and the form and the everything all at once. You have to, I think doing it in sections is very important, because jazz is a lot different than, for instance, classical music would be, right? In jazz, you have to learn how to accompany somebody else, or you have to learn how to play it as a solo piece, or you have to learn how to solo over it, right? So there's lots of different aspects. Okay, now let's move to the melody. Very sequential and simple melody, and that's one of the reasons I chose this tune. Super simple. So that's the A section. I'm sure you heard that before. And then we have a little diatonic in the B section, a little sort of diatonic scale passage, with the B flat in it, putting us in the key of in the key of F. And up, so all we did there is just go up a tone. So very, very simple to, I think, simple to memorize. And then we go back to the same deal in the last A section. Okay, so put some work into learning that melody. I'm sure that you'll be able to do that. Also, just take the same melody and move it around the fretboard a little bit. Right, for instance. Or you can take it down to a different octave. You get the idea, right? Play with the melody, work it around the fretboard, and internalize it. Okay, now I'd like to take a look at now that we've got a grip on learning the melody, and you should have a grip on playing simple rhythm. Let's take a look at soloing. Now I'm going to take a very different approach than what I've seen on YouTube. To try to take a progression like this and start immediately talking about scales and modes and altered scales, and you can do this and then you can do that. You can do, yeah. I know that from a lot of teaching experience that it doesn't work that way. People don't learn that way. And music doesn't really happen that way either, right? So what you want to do is build up from a strong foundation. All right, so you've got it right here in front of you. You've got the roots of the chords. That's all you need to begin with, right? So we have D to G, E to A, and then A to D, A flat, so very clearly it sounds like the tune, right? So what's wrong with that? It's not the tune, right? I mean, it's not like the melody. You're not playing the melody, you're not playing the chords, but you're improvising very simply over the chord progression. And it may not sound hugely interesting, but I can tell you this: it's right. It's right because all the notes are there and they're right. Okay, so let's move from the root and add the third. So there's the third of the D minor. Right, and the third of the G7. And then we're to the A. And so on. You get the idea. Now, if I go to the next section, roots, G minor to C, with the third. And then A. Right. So, yeah. And that's going to work, right? And so let's just take one more step, and that's to add the seventh. So now, rather than add the seventh there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up on top, we're going to add the seventh on the bottom. Right, an octave lower. So when we look at the D, a tone below the D is going to produce the seventh of the chord. There's the seventh, right? So let's do the same thing with the G. Here's the G root, and here's the seventh. And then the A. There you go, right? That sounded okay. So all we've got so far is the roots and the thirds, and the roots and the seventh below. Now, keep in mind that the seventh below the C major is not going to be a tone below, but the C major seventh is going to be a semitone below. So there's C to B. All right. Now, and another thing that you can do, you can phrase this any way you like, but a good way to phrase it is to think of the melody, to think of the phrase of the melody. So we know that is. So you can phrase these first lines, right? Yeah, you can do variations on the original rhythm of the melody, on the melodic rhythm, right? And now, so I'm playing melodically there, melodically meaning one note at a time. But as you'll be able to see, I can also play double stops, and let's say with the roots and the thirds. So not only do I get a beginning of a nice single note solo, but I also get double stops or short chords that I can. Right? If I want to take those sevenths, and instead of putting the third on top of the root, the third on top of the root, I'll put the seventh below, right? So I'll have the seventh and the three. So now I have. Right? There's another option. Okay. So what's the point of this? The point of this is that if you want to build intelligent solos, you work from the ground up, right? You work with the material you have. You don't try to fit 100 notes over one poor helpless chord. You try to define what the song is. You try to keep the melody in mind. You memorize and internalize the chord progression. You play in a nice, relaxed swing style. You might want to use a metronome when you start to get to that point of confidence. And what you're doing all the time is honoring the tune and honoring the melody. And building up to a good solid foundation of understanding of that song. This is going to apply to every standard that you'll ever learn. Yes, there's many more complex things that you can do, and you can save those for later. And if you're already past this, then go on and play away, right? I keep also in mind that we have short durations here, right? These are not like modal tunes. One thing that sort of drives me crazy is an analysis that says that you can play a Dorian mode here and a Mixolydian mode here and a Dorian mode here and an A Mixolydian here. You don't have time for that unless you're like a machine. So what you want to do is define the chord, right, and keep the song in mind. Okay. That's it for today. Like, subscribe. That's always a big help. Let us know if you have any questions, and also comments. Really appreciate comments. I want to know what you want to know, what you want to learn, and if I can be of any help there. That's why I'm here. Okay. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you real soon. And so there it is, right in front of you, right? You've got a root chord, a root note in the chord, right? D, and a G. That's A, yeah, okay. I'm going to have to start over again.